On the morning of January 8, 1991, 15-year-old high school sophomore Jeremy Wade Dell walked into his second period English class at Richardson High School, which is in the Richardson Independent School District in Richardson, Texas. Jeremy was known for being a bit of a loner. His classmates said that he was quiet, always kept to himself, always kind of sad. On that particular morning, Jeremy was late for school. When he walked into class, he was told to go to the headmaster's office, known in most schools as the principal's office, to fill out paperwork for being late, the good old-fashioned tardy slip. He left and then came back a few minutes later. He walked to the front of the class of 30 students and said to the teacher, quote, "Miss, I got what I really went for," end quote. What happened next would shock the class in Richardson, Texas, and we can't really say what happened because, streaming regulations and such. The incident drew local attention, but not a lot of national attention, except for a small article in a newspaper. One person read that article and decided to draw attention to Jeremy's pain and reasoning for his actions. As this person said in an interview in 1993, quote, "It came from a small paragraph in a paper, which means you do something and you make a big old sacrifice and try to get your revenge. That all you're gonna end up with is a paragraph in a newspaper. 64 degrees and cloudy in a suburban neighborhood." That's the beginning of the video, and that's the same thing in the end. It does nothing. Nothing changes. The world goes on and you're gone. The best revenge is to live on and prove yourself. Be stronger than those people. End quote. 16 years after that interview, that same exact person said that he felt, quote, "the need to take that small article and make something of it, to give that action, to give it reaction, to give it more importance," end quote. That person was Eddie Vedder, and he would not only give Jeremy that importance, but through a song, and especially a music video, Jeremy would help Eddie's band Pearl Jam become huge. Pearl Jam rose from the ashes of a few different bands. Guitarist Stone Gossard and bassist Jeff Ament were in a small Seattle band called Green River. Once Stone and Jeff left Green River, they started the group Mother Love Bone with lead singer Andrew Wood, who used to be in the band Malfunction. Mother Love Bone got a record deal, recorded the album Apple, and were on their way when Andrew passed away unexpectedly, leaving Mother Love Bone at a crossroads. After a few months of grieving his good friend Andrew, Stone started playing with guitarist Mike McCready after his band Shadow had broken up. Bad year for band breakups, apparently. They then got Jeff to join their new band. The first drummer that they tried to get was Jack Irons, who at one time had played with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They gave Jack a demo tape to gauge his interest. Jack said no to the offer. However, he knew a singer who might be interested in joining. Jack gave the tape to this guy, Eddie Vedder, who was in the band Bad Radio. Eddie listened to the tape, penned some lyrics to the songs, and sent the tape back. The guys were pretty impressed and got Eddie to come up to Seattle, Washington from San Diego, where he was at, to do an audition. Eddie was hired the next week. They then found their original drummer, Dave Grusin, named themselves after basketball player Mookie Blaylock, and started playing gigs until they got a record deal with Epic Records in 1991. And at that point, they renamed themselves Pearl Jam. The group stepped into London Bridge Studios with producer Rick Parisher in early 1991 to record their debut album 10, which was Mookie Blaylock's jersey number. In the span of 5 months, they went through 3 drummers. Dave Grusin left and checked himself into rehab. His replacement, Matt Chamberlain, lasted a couple of months. He's the drummer that you see in the music video for the song Alive, since the video was footage from a concert that the group held on August 3rd, 1991 at the Seattle venue Rock Candy. Matt left a couple months later to join the Saturday Night Live band and was replaced by Dave Ambrusi. It was in this environment that the song Jeremy was born. Side note, it's actually kind of funny how many drummers Pearl Jam has gone through during its run. It's almost like at Spinal Tap levels, we'll say. Anyway, Jeremy was actually about two different kids. Jeremy, who we already talked about, and a kid named Brian, who did something terrible in San Diego, California. Brian is who he's talking about in the second part of the song, where he starts with, "Clearly I remember picking on the boy." As Eddie said in an interview in 1991, quote, "I actually knew somebody in junior high school in San Diego, California that did the same thing just about. I remember being in the halls and hearing it, and I actually had altercations with this kid in the past. I was kind of a rebellious fifth grader, and I think we got into fights and stuff. So it's a bit about this kid named Jeremy, and it's also a bit about a kid named Brian that I knew and I don't know. The song, I think it says a lot. I think it goes somewhere. And a lot of people interpret it in different ways, and it's just been recently that I've been talking about the true meaning behind it, and I hope no one's offended, and believe me, I think of Jeremy when I sing it." End quote. Eddie was the sole lyricist on the song, while Jeff Ament did the music. Jeff said in an interview, quote, "I already had two pieces of music that I wrote on acoustic guitar, with the idea that I would play them on a Hamer 12-string bass I had just ordered. When the bass arrived, one of the pieces became Jeremy. I had an idea for the outro when we were recording it the second time. I overdubbed a 12-string bass and we added a cello. That was big-time production for us. Rick Parisher's a super talented engineer-musician. Stone Gossard, Pearl Jam's rhythm guitarist, was sick one day, and Ed, Rick, and I conjured up the art piece that opens and closes the song. That was so fun. I wanted to make a whole record like that. We knew it was a good song, but it was tough getting it to feel right, for the chorus to sit back and the outro to push it over the top. The tune went from practically not making it on the record to being one of the best takes. I'm not sure if it's the best song on the album, but I think it's the best take. On Jeremy, I always heard this other melody in the choruses and the end, and it never sounded good on guitar or bass. So we brought in a cello player, which inspired a background vocal, and those things made the songs really happen. Most of the time, if something doesn't work right away, I just say, F it. But this was an instance where perseverance paid off." End quote. When the album 10 was released in 1991, the album was not a huge hit right out of the gate. Their debut single, Alive, got noticed on MTV and did okay. Same with their second single, Even Flow. In 1992, they did an American tour. I actually went to see the band on April 7th, 1992 at the Student Union Ballroom at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, Massachusetts, as I was running the local Musicland record store, which was in Hadley, Massachusetts, the town directly next door to Amherst, and had gotten free tickets. Tickets for the concert, by the way, were $8 for students and $10 for the general public. By the end of the summer of 1992, let's just say Pearl Jam were done playing $10 gigs at colleges, mainly because of the music video to this song. There were two music videos made for the song Jeremy. The first one was made by photographer Chris Cafaro, who Eddie had met and insisted to the record label that he make a music video for the band. The label said in 1991 that he could make one for any song that he wanted to. Chris chose Jeremy. The problem was that originally, Jeremy was never supposed to be released as a single. Chris still wanted to make it, so the band said yes, provided that they weren't going to pay for making it. Chris took money out of his own pocket, got a loan, sold a bunch of his furniture, found an actor named Eric Schubert, and made the music video in a warehouse on Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. He had a spinning platform that the crew spun where he had each band member stand on it one at a time for filming purposes. Eddie made a funeral mourning band out of black gaffer's tape for his scene. The shoot was done, the label saw the video, said thanks, then didn't release it. It must be out there somewhere, and I hope someone reimbursed Chris for all his troubles. Hopefully. I mean, things cost money. 1992 came around. The album was doing okay, but it wasn't really knocking it out of the park at that point. The label had released the 2 songs, Even Flow and Alive, and needed to release another one, and suddenly Jeremy was looking like it might be a good single to release. They still needed a music video for it because they hated the first one, so they started from scratch. They got music video director Mark Pellington, who wasn't a Pearl Jam fan, but connected with Eddie through his passion for the song. In June of 1992, the band went to a studio in King's Cross, London, England, to shoot the band shots. For you Gen Z and millennials out there, yes, that is the area where Harry Potter left for Hogwarts in the first book, track 9 3/4. That track wall, by the way, is now a tourist attraction with a Harry Potter store directly right next to it because, of course it is. Capitalism. What are you going to do? Anyway, Pellington decided that unlike the original video version, he wanted to focus on Eddie as the narrator of the song, which is why you mainly see him in the video with the other guys interspersed throughout. Pellington also used a lot of quick edits in the video in order to make it feel like it was a collage. The band at first didn't like the concept of the video because they wanted to do another concert video like they did for Alive and Even Flow. In retrospect, according to Jeff Ament, the rest of the band should have just been left out of the video because it would have worked a lot better with only Eddie as the focus. The classroom scenes were shot at Bayonne High School in Bayonne, New Jersey. Jeremy was played this time by 12-year-old Trevor Wilson in his one and only acting role. In case you are about to do a Google search to find out whatever happened to Trevor Wilson, I'll save you the trouble because it is not a good ending. Trevor Wilson drowned while on vacation in Puerto Rico while swimming in 2016 at the age of 36. The music video for Jeremy premiered on MTV on August 1st, 1992. It very quickly struck a chord with everyone and was put into heavy rotation, which is MTV speak for it was played almost every other hour, sometimes every hour. When the single was released a couple weeks later on August 17, 1992, the song quickly rose on the American rock music charts, making it up to number 5. On the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart, though, it only made it up to number 79. The song, and especially the music video, quickly turned Pearl Jam into rock stars, with Nirvana striking first with Smells Like Teen Spirit and, of course, their album Nevermind. Both Nirvana and Pearl Jam ushered in the Seattle sound, more commonly referred to as the grunge rock era, and helped to crush the hair band era of rock music. Other Seattle groups started breaking through, most notably Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, although Soundgarden was actually the first of those 4 to release an album, but they didn't get popular until after the other guys did. Soon, record labels descended upon Seattle trying to find the next hot grunge band. The old joke was that in Seattle, you could get a band together on Monday and have a record deal by Friday. Coincidentally, a movie was filming in Seattle just before the Seattle sound got huge and was about the Seattle music scene itself. That movie was the Cameron Crowe movie Singles, which also had a completely unknown Pearl Jam at the time in a few scenes as actor Matt Dillon's backup band. Singles also helped to push grunge into the mainstream as the movie became relatively popular, and it also had an amazing soundtrack. Then there was the commercialization of grunge music and fashion, with fashion designers like Tommy Hilfiger selling $200 lumberjack shirts that normally went for less than $20 in your local department store, but we'll save those stories for another day. The music video itself was not without controversy. The original edit of the video had the actual act playing itself out. That got edited out, but the red marks on the kids remained. There was also an edit made to the classroom Pledge of Allegiance scene, as some people thought that the salute that was given in the scene might look like a Nazi salute, sort of an Elon Musk type of thing. There was also the usual, quote, let's blame music videos and music for the world's problems, end quote, routine going on. Case in point, there was a situation at Frontier Lake Junior High School in Moses Lake, Washington, after which, of course, local politicians and law enforcement tried to blame it all on the Jeremy music video. The music video went on to win 4 MTV Music Video Awards, including Video of the Year. When the band accepted the Video of the Year award on stage, they brought Trevor Wilson up with them. Eddie then went on to say, quote, no, I guess you gotta say thanks. No, the real shit is, if it weren't for music, I think I would have done the same thing in the classroom, you know? It really is what kept me alive, so this is kind of full circle. So, to the power of music, thanks. End quote. Then he handed the award to Trevor as they walked off stage. I have known people in my life who decided that the pain was too great. You yourself may be someone or know someone who feels the same way. So if you are or you know someone, there is help. We put the links to that help every week in the show notes, and this week is no different. And because we are talking about this music video and about this song, you might in this day and age need the help, especially with what's going on this time around. Sad to say. Jeremy spoke in class today. The now iconic music video for Pearl Jam's hit song, Jeremy, premiered on MTV on August 1st, 1992.